me. I implemented a new warehouse management in 10, 15 years ago, something like that. Has warehouse management technology really changed that much?
Yes, is the short answer. It's changed a ton, right? And so what we're seeing from a warehouse management standpoint is we've made huge advancements in terms of how users interact with the system. So when we look at WMSs and we say, well, what is a user going to see at the beginning of their day? How are they going to run relevant reports? How are they going to make decisions throughout the warehouse? That's where we've seen the most advancements from WMSs. User interaction, user capabilities, ease of access, ease of use has improved significantly. Even the way that forklift operators interact with their system and see photos of items, and they're able to capture photos of items, it's made a significant difference in onboarding employees, quickly training employees, et cetera. So there's huge advancements there. And then obviously automation is just growing leaps and bounds. And we've seen that throughout Modex this year. And I think that really what we know is that WMSs have to keep up with that. And that's where you're going to see the most innovation is in that area. The way we communicate with other systems, the way we integrate to other systems. That's really where we see WMSs evolving.
And how do you avoid customizations when implementing a new warehouse management?
Yeah, and so it's always a fun topic of, how do we avoid customizations? OpenSky has a reputation throughout the industry of not customizing software, and it scares a lot of folks. It's, well, what do I have to do to try to fit in then? Why do I have to change all my processes? And that's not necessarily the case. When we do an implementation, what we're looking at is how can your operation potentially change, right, to adapt to the software, but also how can we minimally invasive change the software? So it doesn't always have to be a complete rebuild, it doesn't always have to be a modification. There's scenarios where we can add prompts, we can add workflows that change the way the users behave, and it still allows us to give you that competitive advantage via an extension though, versus a true customization. So you still get a supportable software, something you can upgrade, right? But your clients are still satisfied with the competitive advantages you've retained.
Sounds great. Now, how does OpenSky Group address key decisions throughout a warehouse management implementation?
Yeah, and so this is a big one. I think people underestimate this. I think that when you're implementing a WMS, you need to be aware that it's not just about the quality of the software that's being delivered. It's about how you're addressing key decisions. These are decisions that are going to impact how your warehouse operates for several years to come. Making a bad decision during an implementation could literally plague you for years if you don't consider all the right options. And so what we do during our implementation process is we're going to sit down, really whittle down your options to a few key choices, document those as kind of key decisions that need to be made. We loop in the right executive sponsors to make sure we get their input. And then it's a matter of presenting those options, presenting pros and cons. This isn't revolutionary. This isn't anything new. I think everybody's been doing this for a long time, but you have to be very constructive about it throughout a WMS implementation to effectively implement these choices. So that way you can make a choice, understand the impacts, and then chart your path forward with your new WMS software.
Now, I want to implement automation into my operations. How is my warehouse management impacted by that introduction?
Yeah, Sam, everybody wants to implement automation into their warehouse. It's everything right now. Everybody's doing something with automation. And I think the key is there's really no automation right now that doesn't touch your WMS. Everything kind of comes through your warehouse management software. So you have to be very considerate of how your WMS is going to behave with that automation. I would say if you're considering automation, make sure you're reaching out to your WMS vendor just to understand what they've seen from others. I mean, honestly, it's kind of neat because your WMS is really an unbiased opinion in that realm. We'll understand what automations worked well with us, what automation doesn't, right? How you're going to scale and how it's going to impact your user behavior as well as your system behavior. So how to solidify those integrations, how to make it a true set it and forget it solution, right? That's something we help a lot with. And so your WMS is going to be impacted in various ways. Certain activities are going to be reduced, certain activities are going to be added, but really it's just about understanding that up front so you can make that choice wisely.
Absolutely. Now, why would I want to implement a labor management solution if I was going to use automation in my warehouse? Isn't labor used to measure humans? Why would I need labor management if I'm using robots?
I just don't trust them. No, I'm joking. And so really, when we get to labor management, right, the key to understand is that your automation typically isn't going to cut out every human right? And so you're still going to have rudimentary human tasks that need to be performed. And what we're seeing is you still need to measure those tasks because most of your robotics are based on specific rates of how a user is going to perform. It's based on specific activities that need to be performed at a certain rate. Otherwise, you're not fully utilizing your extremely costly automation.
Right.
And so really what you have to do is you have to consider, how are my humans behaving in relation to my automation and how do I adjust to that? And then in addition to that, keep in mind, labor management isn't strictly a human measurement system. It measures the competency, the efficiency of your entire operation. So you can still leverage labor management metrics outside of measuring your human beings. You can still measure how fast your conveyor is moving, how fast your robotic arms are picking. All of those things can still be considered while considering the human aspect of your operation as well.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So what type of improvements are companies most commonly seeing in their warehouse?
Yeah, so I think that where we're seeing huge improvements right now, and I brought this up a little bit earlier, but to reiterate, training's so big. It used to be that you'd onboard an employee in the warehouse and then it would be, another week or 2 weeks before you're fully able to utilize those users. And so the fact that we're able to really get people onboarded quickly, onboarded efficiently, and we're able to give them aids like pictures and guidance and further instructions, and we're able to configure auditing for specific new users so you can release them earlier to do their job independently, making a huge difference right now. I mean, everything in supply chain right now is about labor constraints. So anything we can do to bring labor in and make them more efficient instantly is making a huge impact. And so I think a lot of people are seeing improvements from that. I think also a lot of people are seeing improvements from the versatility of a WMS. Supply chain has changed so much, and it's shown us that you have to have dynamic solutions. You can't have something that's simply ingrained and carved in stone. You have to have a solution that is going to be dynamic and adjust to your operational needs. And that's really where we're seeing WMSs be able to play a key role in making sure your supply chain can adapt.
What types of add-ons are available with a warehouse management to optimize capabilities?
Yeah, and listen, I mean, this is kind of an odd question to be asking us because obviously we want you to use just a WMS, right? That's what we're primarily involved with. But it's to be transparent, there's things that are done really well outside of a WMS well that we partner with. And so I've got some clients that need really complex cartonization solutions. They want solutions that can do really intelligent cubing logic, really intelligent product orientation, things of that sort. And so we're seeing a lot of innovations from other third-party softwares there that we're able to integrate to. I would say additionally, we're seeing, parcel management softwares are so important right now because shipping cheaply, shipping efficiently is so big. And so we partner with a lot of different parcel manifest systems to make sure that your packages not are just picked accurately by the WMS, but arrive on time. I mean, we don't want to drop the ball in that final mile. And so that's a key for us as well. And then slotting's always a big deal. Blue Yonder has wonderful slotting capabilities out of the box, but what we're really looking at is, how do we leverage further enhanced slotting, really intelligent forecast-based product placement throughout the warehouse to make sure you're efficient.